into the off the groove. Be interesting to see if that problem comes up later in the going. Watch. Right there. Tire smoke. That's obviously got in there too far. Footwork is everything. We've seen Alex's feet and how fast they move back and forth. Getting all that timing is very important. If your pedals aren't right, you can't do your job.
And where that can be big when you slide the tires like that, getting onto pit road, if you're going to go fuel only on a stop later in the race, you can't flat spot those tires.
Yeah, fortunately, I talked to Doug Randolph, and he planned on putting 4 tires on this first pit stop, so no harm, no foul there. But as you mentioned, if you want to do a splash late, you better not slide those front tires.
Resetting the top 5 after Alex Tagliani has made his way to pit road. Greg Galding takes over the race lead. Eric Jones is now 2nd. Andrew Ranger is 3rd. Cole Custer 4th. And Darrell Wallace Jr. completes the top 5. Herman Quiroga, who started in the 4th position, is now 6th. Matt Crafton, Timothy Peters, Cameron Haley, and Ryan Blaney make up the top 10 as you look at Blaney's teammate on board with Alex Tagliani.
You watch Alex, he's actually grabbing the toe. You see, at the very top here, right up there, there's a hook. And you see every time he backs off, he kind of grabs that to make sure it's coming off.
Yeah, it's not releasing all the way. The throttle is releasing, but not all the way to closed. And so Alex is having to help it with his foot. That's a real pain for a driver.
But it sure helps to have somebody with his experience that's able to do that.
And after the pit stop, Tagliani is cycled around to 21st in the running order.
Got his own shoes.
He does have his name on his shoes.
Why get a shoe deal when you've got your own shoes?
He's got a shoe deal with his name on the shoe. Look how hard he is in that gas pedal. A lot of grip right there. He's just able to get that gas all the way to the floorboard in a hurry. This is a great picture watching these guys and all that goes into running a lap around this racetrack.
Here's a turn 5. That's really 5A and B and C.
Ryan Blaney started 14th today. Right now he finds himself inside the top 10. Hermie?
And Adam, he's got a long ways to go to get towards the front. A bobbling qualifying here yesterday at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. You can see right here, this is on his qualifying run in the final session. Gets in the corner a little bit too hot, loose, almost out of control, but he gathers it back up. Started 14th. His truck is tight right now, making his way to the front. He'll be in about 2 laps. Now, Darrell Wallace Jr. has just completed his pit stop. His truck is tight as well. A scheduled stop, 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for Darrell Wallace Jr.
And that 54 truck was running in the 5th position when he came down the pit lane at lap 9, and we will continue to follow the strategy. A couple of our front runners have already made scheduled green flag pit stops. Alex Tagliani did it from the lead at lap 8, and 1 circuit later, the aforementioned Darrell Wallace Jr. on the pit lane, and now the battle for the top spot heating up as they come to turn 10. That's Greg Galding out front, right behind him, one of his teenage buddies, Eric Jones, and then the road course ringer, Andrew Ranger, in that 53 rides 3rd.
We saw Ranger drive up to the back tailgate of that 51 of Eric Jones. Thought maybe he was going to be the next guy he was going to go after, but he settled in right there. A great 4-truck battle for the lead.
That's right. And you talked about the 2 teenagers up front, another one in that 4th spot. So a lot of youth at the front of this front of this field, battling the experienced road racer in Andrew Ranger. And Ranger's, he's quit putting pressure. Oh, we got trouble in pit road.
That's Timothy Peters, who came down at lap 11 for his service. Was running inside the top 10 when he came down the pit lane.
That could necessitate a penalty as well. He might have taken that gas can out of his pit stall, and if he did remove equipment from the pit stall, you can see clearly he does.
Yeah, that'll be a pass-through penalty.
And what a rough summer it's been for Timothy Peters. He finished 7th at Michigan, only top 10 since June at Kentucky, and here he is having issues early again today.
Yeah, and the 5 starts prior to Kentucky, he had top 10s, and then it's gone on a dry spell for that team. He's really struggled lately.
Pretty incredible when you consider a couple of years ago he finished 2nd in the championship chase, but unfortunately 2014 has not gone his way.
Here comes Eric Jones and Cole Custer, both to pit road.
Scheduled pit stops will come at lap 12. A couple of young guns running part-time in the Camping World Truck Series. Hermie Sadler's got the coverage.
Well, Cole Custer hits his pit stall as well. Very impressive for this rookie as he makes his way down pit road. He'll put 4 tires on the 00 as well. His truck's a little bit on the tight side. He'll get full of Sunoco fuel as well. The 51 of Eric Jones, he would got his truck down to the right side. 4 tires, stalls a little bit down pit road, but 4 tires and fuel for the 51.
Once again, scheduled pit stops coming just north of lap 10. It's a 64-lap race here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Derek Jones's guys were able to get him out in front of Cole Custer. They leave pit road together.
Whoa, you got to stay on the inside of that yellow line.
New top 5 after those guys come to the pit lane. Greg Gaulding, you see here, is the race leader. We just got a report he will come to pit road this time. Andrew Ranger is second. Herman Quiroga is now third. Matt Crafton and Cameron Haley inside the top 5.
You know, we talk about Quiroga not being able to keep pace with our leaders, but Phil, you come to pit road, you get 4 tires, an air pressure adjustment, maybe some track bar. Those adjustments can be just the difference that a guy like Herman Quiroga needs to go up there and challenge for the lead. We've got 4, 5, 6 trucks near the front that are so evenly matched. You make the right call on this pit stop with your adjustment, that could be the difference it takes to go from 5th to 1st.
Greg Gaulding going to make his pit stop, and as he does, we remind you that Timothy Peters was penalized for taking equipment from the pit box. He did do his pass-through penalty, right now scored in the 19th position. Here's the 20, Ray.
Gemini Southern Chevrolet comes down for Greg Gaulding. His new crew chief, Chris Rice, has been asking him, how you doing on saving fuel? And he said, I really have no idea. They're going to put 4 tires on, pump this thing full of Sunoco fuel. He comes to pit road on lap number 13. He's been pretty smooth around the racetrack, but again, not knowing for sure about saving fuel. They'll get the 4 tires on 20 back. He stalls it just a little bit. They're rolling downhill. That should help.
So a bit of a miscue there for the 16-year-old out of Virginia. First time he's led laps in his career. Talking about Greg Gaulding, and with him making his pit stop, the new man out front is Andrew Ranger. Great racing here north of the border for the Camping World Truck Series. We're back after a break. First, a Fox Sports Live news update from Los Angeles. Here's Joe Ellington.
NASCAR racing is brought to you by Penalties, making great food fun. Official sponsor of NASCAR in Canada.
The border and some problems over there in turn 5 for the 36. That would be Justin Jennings, who went for a ride through the grass. And as he did that, Andrew Ranger crossed the start-finish line, completing our 16th lap. He is the race leader.
This battle has been hectic.
Whoa, look out
got a
now.
spinner. There's Jennings again, right in front of that side-by-side battle between Custer and Jones.
Cole Custer was able to make that pass on the 50 when they've been battling hard since they came off pit road. There it is. He picks the right side and does not get by without some contact.
You sure he picked the right side?
I thought he did initially.
Put a big gap on the guy who was racing, but maybe some damage to the left side of that truck.
Jennings going to bring his machine to pit road.
I don't blame him. That was a bad lap for him.
See the damage to the tailgate. That's what happened with the contact with the 00 of Cole Custer. I mean, I'm sorry, Cole Custer in the 00.
Yeah, he's worked his way after a pit stop. He finds himself running in the 5th position. Eric Jones now scored in 6th.
And
get it down, get it hold up.
There's our leader, Andrew Ranger, to pit road. Hermie, what are they saying?
Well, Michael, this is the area that we were questioning about this race team. We know they can get it done on the track. Can they get it done on pit road? They're going to take 4 tires, Sunoco fuel. It will be a chassis adjustment as well. They're still working on the left side. They had originally planned to pit around lap 20, but the other leaders coming to pit road have forced them to come to pit road a little bit early. Slow on the right side. Again, they cannot get the right rear tire off. Still working on you see the adjustment on the right rear. A little bit of wedge out of the 53, Ray. Herman Quiroga brought his OtterBox Toyota down to pit road on lap number 14, and his crew chief Butch Hilton decided to go with fuel only. It was a very fast stop, and he was able to pass 5 trucks in the pit area, so he made some great progress. Currently up to 3rd for the number 77.
And Phil, you talked about strategy. That was a strategy play by Butch Hilton. We saw the struggles even with Ranger there, especially his problems with his inexperienced pit crew was he parked too close to the wall as well. They couldn't get that right side jack up, so he struggled there. But Phil, the 77 truck and that team decided just gas only, a much quicker stop, and that's going to give him the lead once all the pit stops are cycled through.
Right now, Ryan Blaney, the 29 truck, is our leader. I was talking to Chad Kendrick before the race. He started back in the 14th spot, not near where they thought they were going to qualify, and he said it may force me to use a little bit of different strategy. I have to do something different than what all the lead lap trucks are, unless we can drive our way up into the top 5 early on. we didn't see that happen. We saw Ryan Blaney only gain about 1 spot early on before pit stop started. They may try to make this race on 1 stop. They're going to need a little bit of help. They're going to need some caution laps. But if we see him go to about lap 30, 31, then that's the plan they're on. They can always alter that plan, but that's the plan they can do.
Sauter was on a roll. In the 7 starts prior to Michigan 2 races ago, the worst he'd finished was 7th, and 2 of those finishes were runner-ups. But at Michigan and Bristol, the team has struggled, so getting that point will help him in the championship battle. This guy, Johnny Sauter, comes here on quite the road, winning Michigan top 5 at Bristol, and now he's your point leader. So there's a battle on the track, but ultimately everybody's thinking about every precious point they can gather up, and Ryan Blaney's getting one now for leading.
Greg Alden, who led laps today for the first time in his Truck Series career, has already made his pit stop. He is 6th, and he is being dogged by the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr., and right behind him, Brennan Newberry, who's really had a good weekend.
Certainly has. He was very fast early on in the first practice session. Brennan Newberry doing a nice job. He has that K&N experience as well on the road course. He's right here in this battle for 6th.
Talked a lot about youngsters today. John Hunter Nemechek has had some issues, electrical problems. He's right now scored in the 23rd position, and he has made his way to the pit lane. So we continue to await our top 2 trucks, and when will they come to pit road? 2 that are very much involved in the championship battle, each of them just coming off of turn 10 and bypassing the entrance to pit road once again. We've now completed 19 laps.
You know, Phil, we've seen this flurry of pit action early in the race so that people can get in their window for that next stop. If you're talking about making just 1 stop, those guys are going to have to run up towards 32 laps now, plus the pace laps that we had earlier. All green flag racing so far. Can a truck go that far?
Chad said he didn't think they were going to be able to do it without a little bit of help, without some caution laps. So that may push his first stop here to 28 or 29, knowing that we had the pace laps. But he said from the time they gave the command to fire engines, Ryan Blaney was going to be saving fuel. And he said there's 52.5% of this racetrack that he can run with this engine shut off on a caution lap or a pace lap. 52.5%.
As you see Ryan Blaney heading down that long back straightaway, we did get a report that he will make a pit stop next time. He's just out in front of Johnny Sauter, who also is yet to come to pit road in this race.
That's your man backing off of that proposed strategy. He's like, okay, we've had too much green so far.
We didn't get the caution laps that we needed to make that happen.
So we'll have to go with plan B. Not this lap, though.
Nope.
He might have just decided, Phil, a lot of times the driver will call an audible there. He saw the slower lap truck of Jennifer Jo Cobb.
The guy says that's probably just where the low RPMs are, so you just lose a little turn-in pressure right there. You should be fine.
He's talking. I think he was talking about maybe the engine blubbering a little bit.
Did you see him when he came onto the back straightaway?
I think maybe he just decided he wouldn't go to pit road right there because she was going to cause him to lose momentum. Every second on this racetrack is important. So Ryan Blaney just decided he'd stay on the track. If that's indeed their plan to come to pit road, 1 more lap won't hurt him. Need that clean shot to the pit when you're leading the race.
As we see Ryan Blaney out front here, we remind you of his teammate Alex Tagliani, who started on the pole today and led the first handful of laps of this race. Right now he's scored in 9th. He came to pit road at lap 8, was the first guy to make a pit stop under green. And we also saw Andrew Ranger very successful in the early portion of this race. He finds himself back in 12th. A couple of drivers from Canada making their Truck Series debut today.
Well, we saw Ranger's team really struggle on pit road. He was in the top 5 when he pitted. All the pit stops haven't cycled through, but he's back in 12th, so he's definitely lost a lot of ground on that pit stop.
And he shows to be about 6 seconds behind Tagliani. Now, he was behind Tagliani before. Ryan Blaney, another situation, may have been coming to pit road, but there was another truck at the entrance to pit road. He may have stayed out. Harvey, what's going on with the 29?
A little bit of a change of strategy for the 29 of Ryan Blaney. Phil, crew chief Chad Kendrick has just said they're planning now to stay out until a lap 29 or 30, get back on the racetrack and maybe hope to get some caution laps to get them to the end. So the truck started out tight. Now it's a little bit better. He's concerned about low fuel pressure. You heard crew chief Chad Kendrick speaking to Ryan. What's going on the racetrack? Low fuel pressure in low RPM points of the racetrack. So Ryan was a little confused. Chad is not about that, but right now he's talking about lap 29 on the strategy for the 29.
So where does that put them for the balance of the day if they come at lap 29?
Well, then they've got to go 35, but they know that they can go